Now! Contracts! Now!
We want to know, where does the money go?
We want to know.
Where does the money go? We want to know.
Where does the money go?
We want to know.
Tell me what you need, what you really need.
Justice!
Tell me what you want, what you really want.
Justice!
Move! You don't get out the way. Get out the way. You don't get out the way. Walk out the closet. Need all of you. It's around California Hall right now. UDO's not going to teach your classes. Walk out at 12:30. It's our education that's being cut. He's making $1 million a year. Let's get rid of UDOF and let's take back our UC. Walk it out, walk it out. Now walk it out, walk it out.
My name is Timothy Clark. I came to Berkeley in 1988, and the 21 years I've spent teaching and researching here at Berkeley have been in many ways the most rewarding of my life. Therefore, my feelings are painfully contradictory, you can imagine, as I look out on these old and new friends. It's an honor and a privilege to speak first on this occasion, but at the same time, it is a tragedy. Let me speak to the honor first. What I see in front of me, the banners, the faces, the demands, is the life of the university as I understand it. It is the university taking on form in the public sphere, escaping from the academic boardroom, shrugging off the jargon of the entrepreneurs and patent seekers, and reminding us what a university really is. A university is not a brand name. It is not an umbrella organization for 150 assorted corporate laboratories. A university, a public university, is not a finishing school for the sons and daughters of the shrinking few able to afford it. A university does not build its future, even in a moment of crisis, on the backs of those most vulnerable in its midst. The men and women who keep the places we teach and learn in clean, safe, functioning. A university, and this is the last, and for me, the vital element in its moral and intellectual life, does not see its crisis in isolation from the one that is threatening the state as a whole. It knows what is happening in schoolrooms in Oakland and Richmond and San Jose. It feels the despair of those for whom community college or the Cal State system seem to offer a way forward and now see their courses cancelled and buildings shuttered. And all this is what is unforgivable in a state whose concentrations of private and corporate wealth remain immense, but which a failed political system has put off limits, even when the very life or death of our society is at stake. A state in its right mind does not destroy that resource when times get tough. But this, make no mistake, is what is happening. How many times in the past 2 weeks have students found their department office closed when they urgently needed advice on courses and requirements due to staff shortage? How many times have you had to remember that if you needed to study in the library in the coming weekend, that basic need of university life, you should think again. For libraries at Berkeley cannot afford to open either on Saturday or Sunday, unlike those at the University of Mississippi and Alaska. But as an overall policy, what we're living through makes me choke with anger. It is destructive and deeply unfair. It steers too close, if I may borrow an infamous phrase from a famous member of the Berkeley faculty, to an organ failure model of crisis management. And if our leaders in UCOT think that in the end they will wear us down by using the oldest tactics in the reactionary playbook, divide, deceive, conceal, demoralize, they are deeply mistaken. We shall fight back. Finally then, let me offer the bare outlines of an alternative. There is a real emergency and many of us are willing to help address it. What do we want? What would bring us on board as active participants in a work of reconstruction? Well, supposing we were presented with an honest and transparent and coherent plan for the preservation of the public university in hard times. Supposing the plan was one in which sacrifices really were shared, in which the pet projects and inflated building programs and hidden overhead were no longer off limits when cuts were discussed. Supposing the profit-generating parts of the UC system, and they exist, were asked, maybe temporarily as part of the real emergency, to contribute a proportion of their surplus to the urgent needs of the university's teaching heart. Supposing the preservation of the true economic, racial and ethnic diversity of the UC student body was an absolute priority, an unnegotiable part of our institution's character. Supposing it was truly unthinkable for the university's future to be decided, as UDOF and the regents seem to be planning, by a commission of professional school managers and technicians who seldom or never face an actual classroom or a lab. Then we would come on board. And this can still happen, my friends. We are at a moment of near breakdown, and no one is pretending that the way out of it will be pain-free. An immense amount depends on the wider politics of the state. It is up to us to argue the case for a public university, for public education in a democracy in crisis. The crisis is real, but crises produce choices. They shine a light on managers and management speak. They make another vision possible. They remind us of why we think teaching and learning and the production of new knowledge really matter, why they are vital to the life of our society at large. And they call us to fight to preserve the space in which they can thrive. The fight has begun. The fight will continue.
Whose university?
Our university!
Whose university?
Our university!
Whose university?
Our university!